around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock this. Let's get it started. It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock this. Let's get it started. Yeah,
get your boots ready. We're about to go on a trip where we wrestle, nobody settling or calling it quits. You're here for the grit, bet you this stuff is amazing. You're stumbling? Welcome to the bump in the apron. Step into it, the hardest part of the ring. Here to bring fun, yeah, in this art he is king. It's the best thing, making sure you don't tap out. Don't go soft with the hardest podcast out. And it's not just another one, it's clear. Off the rest, in this content, none contest. Take the nonsense off the steps. You know it's nothing but pure gems when it's coming off the chest. Get it? Now it's time to sit and relax. Get your mind blown away, ain't no skipping this track. Have you paying more attention, no listening gap. Get everything I ever wanted, no giving it back. Yeah.
What's up, everybody? Hardest part of the ring is here, bumping the aprons once again. And, well, you know, let me start off this episode with a question. Do you like clowns? Do you like small clowns? What about kings? Huh? The royal family is a big topic today in pop culture, huh? Am I right? How about that Marky Megan over there, whatever her name is? You a big fan of that kind of stuff? Do you like kings? How about small kings? Small kings? Small clowns? If you like both of those, how about this? Do you like watching them have a match against each other? 8 of them? Do you like 8 miniature people chasing Jerry the King Lawler around a ring into a pie in the face by Doink the Clown, with Todd Pettengill standing by to narrate the whole thing? Do you like those specific things? Well, if you do, you've come to the right place. Or the wrong place, in all actuality. Survivor Series 1994. Oofda, we are still very much in a rebuilding period. Not just for WWF, but for wrestling as a whole. You know, over there in WCW, they got Hogan there, who's already kind of like, Jesus, Hogan's still doing his Hogan thing. You got Ric Flair, who just retired forever, so they don't have him anymore because he's gone. And you got Earthquake debuting. You got fucking Dave Sullivan and Guardian Angel, Jim Duggan as a U.S. There's a lot of silly shit happening over there. And then you have ECW, who is, I mean, they're still over there trying to figure out their identity, but they're over there just breaking necks and fucking having to rewrite their main events on the fly. Check out November to Remember 94 if you want to know what I'm talking about there. My episode on that is if my cat doesn't shut the fuck up, I'm gonna break its neck just like Benoit did to Sabu. Just kidding. He's my little man's. I'm gonna go get him. What you gotta say to the people, huh? You trying to make a run in? What you gotta say? That's what I thought. But speaking of cat shit, Survivor Series 1994. Yeah, we have, it's a Survivor Series, man. I mean, mid-90s, early 90s, it wasn't really like this. I mean, it was a big show because it was still one of the pillar pay-per-views of WWF at the time. But you just had a bunch of 10-man tags with a few other matches thrown in there just for the sake of variety, really. But I mean, if nothing else, this show is a great snapshot of 1994. If you're unaware, if you haven't watched WWF in the new generation era, throw this bad boy on, and boy howdy, you're going to see the good and the very, very bad, all in one show. Like I said, we got a lot of 10-man tags. We got Bret Hart versus Bob fucking Backlund for the WWF title. The aforementioned Little People. We have Undertaker versus Yokozuna in a casket match rematch. Chuck Norris is there for some reason. There's so much crazy shit on this show that we should probably really just get right into it, right? And had two great guests for this episode. Had Dave and Gaz from the Monday Night Chores podcast. Pretty new podcast over there, but a really great group of guys over there and a really good podcast over there. Kind of covering this era of wrestling as well. I think they are around 95, if I'm like towards the end of 95, if I remember correctly. They basically go through all the Monday Night Raws and Monday Night Nitros and kind of gather which company was doing the best from week to week. A really interesting show. If you like what I do, you probably like what they do. They're just more British than I am. So go check them out. The Monday Night Chores podcast. All their info in the description as always. And yeah, let's get to it. Survivor Series. Put on your cowboy hats, everybody. They're in Texas. The commentators were wearing cowboy hats too. So was Todd Pettengill. He had a really elaborate duster jacket as well. Todd Pettengill did, but we'll try not to talk about that too much. But put on your cowboy hats, everybody. WWF Survivor Series 1994 with myself and Dave and Gaz from the Monday Night Chores podcast. I'm gonna hit record. Let's see. That's all there is to it, right? You just hit record and.
Yeah. Then I've got a little sign that says recording, so that means you've probably done it right now. You've done it right. That's how it works.
Well, I didn't get shirtless Gaz on the recording, so I might ask you to do that towards the end.
It's
that's okay.
He'll do that on any Zoom call.
Perfect.
Don't know what it is.
He's
Work
basically
do it
like
on as well. Do it on work.
He's like
calls. It's great.
He's like Sonny. He'll do anything.
And sex sells. That's what I hear, right?
Does it? Does it with that? I just saw that, and I'm not sure how.
Hey, there's
How
something for everybody.
you, Dave?
I'm sorry.
How dare you? If this doesn't sell, I don't know what doesn't, mate.
There we go. There we go.
You know what I mean?
Man, if that describes Survivor Series 94 in a nutshell, am I right or am I wrong, gang?
Yeah.
In dry. I liked it. I liked
it, which is worrying.
I did. I was
didn't it?
very entertained by it, for better or worse.
I watched an explosion match the other day, and I mean, it was better than that.
Did you? Have you? I've not watched that yet. I
watched the countdown.
I've seen the end.
Jericho's going to come back out again doing that. But
he didn't. Two sparklers.
He didn't do it.
Do you think they got it wrong, or do you think something didn't work, or do you think they just thought it would come over better? I think something must have gone wrong.
I think
I wanted Omega to come out and go, "Ha ha, you losers!"
Right.
The only thing I'm thinking is you had like Eddie Kingston obviously lay on him like he was saving his brother. The only saving grace is when Eddie Kingston comes out on Dynamite to explain that. It's like, well, Eddie Kingston's probably the only person who can actually do that and will do it justice, because everyone else, they'll be like, oh, but Eddie Kingston, he's so good. He'll come out with some decent promo to at least explain it away. So I hope so anyway, because it was.
I think Tony Khan tried to explain it by like Eddie Kingston just fainted from the fear of an explosion or like something like that. It's like, I guess, like what else are you gonna do? But it's just like, come on,
frightened of explosions.
Yeah.
I like to have seen like a brown stain just grow larger on his pants area as he was doing it as well.
That's what it needed.
That's what it needed.
Moxley just grabs his bum cheek, and that's how it ends.
Have you guys seen the Onita versus Hayabusa match?
No, I'm not sure.
The exploding barbed wire.
They're not really my thing. I'm not going to lie. I like happy nonsense, and people bashing each other with barbed wire and explosions. Just
well, if you ever want to link to it, I checked it out yesterday for the first time, and it's literally just guys exploding in the ring. and catch you on fire.
Well, there we go.
That's how they do it over there.
Send
They
me
just,
that link.
let's actually just kill each other in a wrestling match.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
wrestling.
Because why wouldn't you?
Of
Dave's
course.
got a video of men exploding in his ring that he can send to you. But
Well, I
It's the
exploded.
OnlyFans, Gareth. OnlyFans.
I exploded in
fans.
my ring when watching Survivor Series 1990. I don't do like an elaborate intro, by the way, guys. I just we just kind of roll into it. There's no way to prepare for Bob Backlund and a bunch of midgets. So
Never a true word
It's kind of
spoken.
jamming in raw with these kind of shows. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, just imagine Jerry Lawler jamming it in Raw.
I just
Been
have
there.
too many jokes. Too many jokes. So have you guys? You guys seem like in the age group where you would have been like around watching the show live. Am I right?
yeah, I was 11.
So basically, you're saying
Wow.
we're old.
I mean, I'm not saying that you said that. I'm just saying you may have been, and we might have been.
I'd
around.
have been 10. So this probably would have been around like peak.
Oh, so I'm old, 11.
And,
That's what you're
yeah,
saying.
fuck it, yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Well, I was
this would have been
one,
like
so,
peak.
you know,
What?
I was also
Shut
around,
up.
Mate.
probably shitting my pants somewhere, in the litter
So was
box. But
Weren't
Yeah,
really
I-
trained.
I
Yeah.
think this would have been when I would have still been watching. I would have still been watching at this point because these are all people I remember, but there's still a
Right.
sort of is a little cusp of people that I don't
Yeah.
quite remember, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Like Fatu and all that sort of stuff. It's like, but 1, 2,
Yeah,
3
I
Kid and Razor, I do.
right, yeah,
I
whatever
stopped
happened to that
watching
guy?
in 94. So this would have been 94,
Really?
95. Yeah, just before we went up to would have been secondary school or high school, I suppose, wouldn't it? So I stopped watching just before then. So yeah, 94 would have been the last time I watched. And I remember the Backlund Bret Hart match because I was a massive Bret Hart fan.
Mm-hmm.
It seems he was a big number one favourite over here in the UK, wasn't he, Dave?
Yeah, everyone loved Bret because no one liked Hulk Hogan though. You
What?
like to apart from you,
What?
Kaz, but because you're just some strange mark. But no one likes this sort of real American stuff. Like all my mates didn't like him, so it was all, Ultimate Warrior. Then once he disappeared, it's Bret Hart in it. So
Mm-hmm. Well, let me ask you guys: were you watching WCW at the time, or just
Nope.
WWF?
I was WWF, yeah.
Yeah, because I've been going back through all these '94 shows, both WCW and
Oh,
WWF.
dear. Why?
It's a time. It's an experiment for sure, but it's crazy because they bring this is around the time where Hogan just got to WCW, maybe a few months before this, and they're already tired of him, kind of, because they just had a Halloween Havoc the previous month, and that was the one where Hogan and Flair had a steel cage match. And Flair was getting all the cheers, even though he was the heel and Hogan was the face. So that's like it's just like it's a weird time because you see a lot of guys on this show, Survivor Series, but like a year or two, there's a bunch of them that are on WCW and vice versa too. So that was really crazy in hindsight to see. I mean, were you guys really like focused on that when watching at the time when guys would leave to go to the other company, or is it kind of in the background?
I would have said that it didn't really kick off for me and enjoying that until we got to the Attitude Era, because I'm like Gareth, I would have stopped watching around about this 94, 95 time, and then it probably would have been about 3 or 4 years till I started watching again. And then it was just, the Attitude Era was just mad for people just appearing and disappearing and debuts and stuff. So around this time, I was just, buying my wrestling sticker books and just happy putting my stickers in and being like, oh, I love my favorite. And if they disappeared to WCW, like I didn't really even know WCW existed. We could, I don't think over here we could watch it easily either. So I didn't have any knowledge of what was going on in WCW. So
yeah,
And then
My
we had-
earliest or only memory of WCW, really, well, I've said it before on our show, was Van Hammer coming down on a Saturday main event type program.
that's
where it was-
unfortunate that your only memory is Van Hammer.
Yeah, I know. Great entrance though. I'm all about the
Was it?
entrances and the finishes. That's literally what I'm about. Entrance,
Nothing can
finish.
That's
I
all you
support
need.
that.
Like making love, Gareth.
Making love. But yes, this show took place in San Antonio, Texas. And if you're not so sure, just look at the fucking commentators who are out there wearing cowboy hats and dusters, I think.
Yeah, I thought it was amazing. What better way to start a pay-per-view than Gorilla Monsoon and Vince McMahon in fucking cowboy hats? You're like, this is brilliant. This can't get bad from this point onwards, can it? This is America as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, is that what you just think all Americans are like, just walking around in cowboy hats?
100%. Yeah.
That's pretty
Mullets,
accurate.
cowboy hats, spurs, and lots of guns.
Cowboy boots. Yeah.
Cowboy, yep, absolutely, yeah. Assless chaps.
I was going to say chaps with no ass.
That's actually what I'm wearing right now. That's why I'm sitting down, and my cowboy hat doesn't fit over the headset. So, but yeah, you guys.
I would have liked to have seen Vince as the cowboy and Gorilla as a Mexican bandito with like a big sombrero on and a little fake moustache. That would have been brilliant.
That is a very 1994 thing to do. I wouldn't. You might be joking, but I wouldn't put it past them. They were throwing
if it was King.
Yeah.
King
would be well on that. Yeah, of course he would. Any time to be
midgets in this show. They're not willing to. They're not saying no to anything. I don't think.
Yeah.
Midgets in sombreros. Boom.
You might as well just call the show that. That would sell. That's how you get people to buy the show.
That's a buy-in right there.
Explosive matches for midgets in sombrero match, mate.
Oh man, but no. Well, wait. Are there cowboy hats in this match? Hold on. There's like 20 people in this first match. No, we're not at the Smoking Guns yet.
No. We start with the Teamsters, don't we?
We'll get there. Of course, the Teamsters.
Jeff Jarrett comes out.
Yes, he's there.
He's cowboy hat. Yeah, and
is he a cowboy? Is he?
He's not.
That's cowboy, isn't it? Does that not count? He's like country, so that's kind of cowboy, isn't it?
I don't know what kind of cows he's wrangling, but he's what would you describe his attire as?
What Shawn Michaels wants to look like,
right,
at this time.
He is.
It's like a knockoff Shawn Michaels, isn't it? That you get off the market, and yeah,
I love this era of Double J. I think he's great.
I think he's really good in this match.
He's so 94. He's mullet, attire, hat. What more do you need?
I as a 10-year-old kid, would have hated him.
I hated him when I was a 10-year-old kid.
Just despite, I mean, I despise him forever, really, because he's just a bit of a dickhead. But at this point, just everything he does and how he dresses, you're like, oh, you are a dick. So,
right.
It's a job well done, isn't it?
It's funny. When I grew up, I was, I guess, like 7 years old when he was like Attitude Era Jeff Jarrett. When he had the guitar and Deborah and all that. And that's kind of what I always, slap nuts, exactly. Even like TNA is kind of more what I associate him during my childhood. But yeah, dude, this first match. So we got the Bad Guys versus the Teamsters. By the way, love the team names throughout the whole show. I think that's something they need to bring back. Love it. It like, I don't know, maybe that's too strong of a word, but what was your guys' favorite team names on this show?
Just on the team names though, the Bad Guys were the faces.
Yeah,
right.
It's when that just confused me from the get-go. I was like, I don't know where I am now. I don't know what's happening.
Razor Ramon is the captain, so they're the bad guy. Come on, right. It's obvious. That why?
So what's the Teamsters then, Dave? With that logic, go.
Yeah, it's Shawn Michaels and Diesel. I mean,
are they not a team? Are they not a team?
I thought Teamsters were just sort of lazy people who didn't do much. I don't really know what a Teamster is.
You know, I never gave it a second thought. I thought it was like, oh, they're a team. So they're Teamsters.
Yeah, the Teamsters. Yeah, exactly. Like we're podcast sters.
Right.
So, I like it.
Yeah, there you go. Wrestlers.
We're a group. The group sters.
Yeah. There you go.
Like the Beatles.
Yeah.
What an educational.
We're the Beatles. Yeah, we.
There it is.
I'll throw that out there.
that's a whole different podcast in itself. Yes, the Bad Guys. We have the 1-2-3 Kid, British Bulldog, Fatu, Sion, and Razor Ramon versus the Teamsters, comprised of Diesel, Jeff Jarrett, Jim Neidhart, Owen Hart, and Shawn Michaels. A lot of glitter in this match. A lot of mullets in this match. A lot of sparkles and colors. And this is a very new generation match, if nothing else.
This is like a perfect snapshot of what 1994 wrestling is, isn't it? This is like, you've got Razor Ramon, you've got Glitter, you've got Jeff Jarrett, you've got stupid gimmicks of people who don't like wearing shoes. What the fuck? This is 94.
What was the deal with that? So I maybe I'm wrong here, but I guess it's like they're like wild Samoans and they're not like accustomed to shoes, so they don't know how to tie them. Is that the deal? Okay, I didn't know if that was like
either that or because they're the heels, they got a problem with shoes. That's all I assumed. I just collated heels and shoes.
They were
that's literally heels.
They're the faces. So
I'm getting confused now.
So you
they're the bad guys, Dave. I don't know what's happening.
Maybe they were confused though.
Well, if you're wearing your first pair of shoes at the age of like 30 odd like they are, then you'd be confused as well, wouldn't you? I guess.
That's a really good point. I never really thought of it that way. But funny note, so not the wild Samoans were the head shrinkers. So it was Fatu and Samu, but Samu left for WCW just recently. before this. So they're calling them the new head shrinkers, and they replaced Samu with Barbarian.
Chuck him in there.
Is he? What ethnicity is Barbarian? Do you guys know offhand? I think he's just tan enough and
I was going to say,
that's pretty much what they've gone for, I think, haven't they, really?
Right.
Ultimately, we've got a Samoan dressed as a sumo wrestler passing off as a Japanese man later. So let's not get bogged down in where you're from. Just, you know.
Exactly.
You look a bit tan, in you go, Barbarian. Have a go, mate. You know what I mean? Can you wear shoes? No, fine. Who cares?
I'll figure it
out.
Go
for it. Yeah, exactly.
But ultimately, none of that really matters because this is really just a Diesel show, this first match. Really just putting him over, kind of culminating the babyface turn that they've been teasing for a while now. Diesel pretty much just eliminates everybody. He jackknifes Fatu, eliminates him. Jackknifes 1-2-3 Kid, elimination. Jackknife to Sion, elimination. But Bulldog is able to stop that momentum for a little bit, but gets counted out because he's stupid, I guess.
Did he get counted out? Because suddenly Vince and Gorilla just start going, oh, I think the Bulldog's been counted. Dude, it is your fucking job to know what's going on. If you can't tell me what's happening, like, you don't know. How does anyone bloody know what's going on? Suddenly it's just Razor left alone with everyone. It's stupid.
And that wasn't the only time on the show that would happen either, which is like...
Or this match.
I mean, how do you even like pay attention to all of this at once, though? Just, devil's advocate for Vince. But yeah, it's pretty much Razor versus everybody at this point. But at some point, I believe it's Diesel holds up Razor for Shawn Michaels to give him a sweet chin music, but lo and behold, Razor Ramon ducks out of the way. HBK kicks Diesel for like the fucking 5th time in like a couple weeks. So now they're angry at each other finally. So they argue to the back.
We were all stunned that happened, weren't we? I mean, as soon as he was holding,
I never saw it coming.
Razor,
Never saw
thought,
it coming.
Yeah, there's no way this is going to happen. But what's the best case scenario? He kicks Razor Ramon in the head, and Razor Ramon's head smashes him in the face anyway. I mean, he was never going to win, so it's ridiculous.
Right. Well, he's a diesel truck, so he's very durable in the head area.
Yeah, it's a fair point, actually.
You got to pay attention to these
I'll take that comment back. I was wrong. Vince is right.
You just sound ridiculous right now.
Yes.
You know that?
I've embarrassed myself. So.
So yeah, Diesel gets kicked. Him and Shawn fight to the back. For some reason, all the Teamsters follow them, trying to make the peace. Even though the remaining 3 could have easily just taken care of Razor Ramon, I think. But everybody gets counted out of the Teamsters
really quickly as well.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
I mean,
6,
the referee, you're up, and that's it. I mean, it seemed ridiculous. But why was Owen shouting, "Let's go back, we're going to lose"? Why didn't he go, "I'm going to go back and wrestle"? He seemed to have the wherewithal to realise that he's
it's wrestling, Dave.
Yeah,
it's wrestling, though, isn't it? It's 94 wrestling. He ain't going to go back on his own. He's got to try and round up the Teamsters or the whatever they're called, the jackknifers. I don't know, whatever they're called, the HBKers.
Diesel bombs.
Just get whatever it is. Just whatever.
We
win
together, we lose together.
Bombers.
Yeah, the bombers.
Yeah,
the jack-offs.
Team mentality. Teamsters mentality. Yeah, or whatever they want to call themselves.
Could have been anything, but yes, Razor Ramon wins without beating anybody, which is hilarious.
Victory by default.
Right. So I didn't realize how like soon after we'll get to the WWF title match and later, but Diesel wins the title like a couple days after this. Am I right?
Yeah, house show, yeah.
In like 4 seconds, beating the champion there. So they're really just hot shotting him here, really driving home the breakup between him and Shawn. And I believe they go 1-on-1 at WrestleMania, correct? 11. So planting seeds there. I liked when they do that. They would plant WrestleMania seeds like several months in advance rather than, 3 or 4 weeks in advance.
To be fair, I thought they'd done a pretty good job, though, of making Diesel a super babyface from this one, because you had Shawn Michaels being a complete dickhead on the outside, bossing him around, and it was just a guy snapping. So I was pretty impressed with the booking on this, because it's not often WWF get it right and get it really right that they managed to basically have a match, showcase him to be a complete badass, and turn him properly face in the space of 16 minutes of wrestling or whatever. So yeah, it's not often they do it well, but this was decent.
Yeah,
yeah, if nothing else, an efficient use of time, like you said, just got him over as a badass, made him credible, made him likable, I guess, or at least made Shawn hateable to the point where they would cheer him against Shawn. So yeah, good shit. Anything else on this match, either of you guys?
I enjoyed Jeff Jarrett. I thought Jeff Jarrett done a good job of being a dickhead on the outside, of just taunting and doing his V's and his strutting around as well. I thought, I hate you, Jeff Jarrett. So you did a good job.
He's got a great strut, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's got a
Ric
strut.
Flair to shame.
Got a great strut.
I like how Jeff Jarrett just kind of takes pieces from other wrestlers.
Oh,
Yeah, just makes it up.
Yeah, and then it becomes him, you know? But boy, howdy, this next match. Gotta take a deep breath. Royal Family versus Clowns Are Us. What everybody paid to see, I'm sure. So we got
It's like Brock Austin
is
in a way.
I'm trying to think of a similarity. You know, I just can't. I'm sorry.
No, this is.
I mean,
it's
it was just
better
as
than
hot.
Brock
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
yeah.
because this is so much better. You know,
It's
it's
what we're
not
there.
even comparable. So we got Jerry Lawler, Cheesy, Queasy, and Sleazy versus Doink, Dink, Wink, and Pink. So what would you guys do if you were watching the show and one of your friends who doesn't watch wrestling came in and saw you watching this shit? Would you be friends anymore or no?
Well, I had to. Well, my wife left me the other day because we were watching this on the network.
I'm so sorry.
She said,
No.
"Fuck you watching," and she's left. Yeah, she left because of this match. But it was just this must have been giving Vince such a boner, this match.
Right.
To have midgets and clowns and kings. He's just, Jesus, loving life. He had a pair of puppies in there.
Oh, of course.
Do you know,
God,
the
dude.
sad,
Just be, happy
Do you know
days,
what-
Vince.
do you know what the sad thing is? Is I actually quite liked this for a couple of minutes. I
Yeah.
actually thought some of the spots where Jerry Lawler's like laying on the floor and then all the midgets run over him and they
Yeah.
do the thing where he tries to get on the midget's shoulders and stuff. It was like, oh, these are actually silly little spots. And then the match went for like 16 minutes and they've done these
Yes.
comedy spots so many times. I was like, oh, it's just become so weird. If it had been like 2 minutes, it'd been over. I would have been like, oh, that's a nice relief. But they seem to try and treat it like it was going to be a real match, other than Jerry Lawler just looking like an idiot for the whole thing. So
Mhm.
yeah. Didn't do it for
correct me
me, surprisingly.
If I'm wrong, but technically with this match, the only person that could pin Jerry was Doink and vice versa, correct?
That's how it seemed. Yeah.
So as soon as Doink's out, then Jerry's team can't lose.
Yeah, I worked that out as well.
So they could have ended the match about 15 fucking minutes earlier then, couldn't they? Because no one was
Wow.
going to bloody win it.
They should have done. It was just woeful.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, they should have done. Yes, it was, yeah.
It should have just been the little people.
So
And
as
you
soon as
just-
Doink goes, that's it.
Yeah, I
This
thought.
one's over,
Yeah,
get it? I've won on a technicality again. Thank you very much.
yeah, they treated it like an intergender match essentially. But I thought it was weird that King stayed out there even when he pinned Doink. So like at some point of the match, like you mentioned, Doink, or I think someone mentioned, Doink comes off with a crossbody. King reverses into a roll up, holds the tights because heel, and pins Doink. So like you said, Doink's eliminated, and the only one that can pin Lawler is Doink. So yeah, like you said, I didn't even really put that together. Honestly, I was a little just thinking about other things in this match, like the hairy one. Who's the hairy one? Was
That was Sleazy, wasn't it?
it might have been
or
Cheesy,
Queasy?
honestly.
Cheesy.
It was definitely
Was
one
it
of
Jerry
those
Lawler?
three. You know what? That's the one. That's the one. Yeah, like you said, man, like if it would have been just because I enjoyed it like in the first couple of minutes too. Like you said, there's a spot where Lawler was on the ground and the clowns went over to the small royals, and they were like taunting them, and they made them chase them over Lawler, and they're all stepping over. Like that's good shit. I hated myself for laughing at it, but I liked it.
But as a small moment, things like that, you're like, oh, that's good. And then because you had Doink got like one of his little clowns on his shoulders, and then Jerry got on the shoulders of one of his little royal people, and you're like, oh, this is kind of funny. But they done so many of these different stupid spots that you could. I mean, this has got Vince McMahon written all over it, hasn't it? This is Vince McMahon's dreams come true. Just
Yeah.
little people doing
Yeah.
stupid things with tall people. Like,
Lawler probably loved it too, honestly. He probably had a lot of creative input in this, if I had to guess. I mean, that's his royal family, so obviously he had input. They wouldn't just
jobs for the boys.
But yeah, so the big people are out, so it's just the little people. But Lawler basically interferes and helps his team eliminate all the inks, all the little inks. And then so the royal family ends up winning. But don't worry.
Why have a stupid comedy match and let the heels win?
Because you got to put Lawler over. Maybe they had the plan to have like Backlund versus Lawler at WrestleMania or something, right? Would have been good.
With all his midgets in his corner.
Of course.
Bob Backlund, yeah.
Long-term storytelling, okay?
Yeah, so fair enough, actually.
Or
short-sighted.
Short-term storytelling. Okay.
Yeah.
Tripping over each other to make the same joke. Oh, God. But after the match, King's trying to take all the credit, even though his boys, they're men, won the match, essentially.
I like the idea they're his boys, like his kids. They're all his sons.
He would definitely call one of his sons Sleazy as well.
Of course
he would, yeah.
Just Brian Christopher out the back, the one he doesn't like because he's too big.
But after the match, King's scolding all the midgets for taking credit for it. So they all gang up together along with the little clowns. So we got like, what is it? Six little people chasing King around the ring, only for King to get pied in the face by Doink. Todd Pettingill's there. He loves it. Love the cowboy hat and duster on Todd, by the way, too. So we got cowboys, we got clowns, we got pies, we got kings, we got chest hair. Is there really anything else you look for in wrestling?
No, I'm happy man.
As all the boxes ticked.
Exactly. But like you said, it's a comedy match. It should have been 4 minutes, but it was fucking 20 minutes, counting the whole segment. So really bizarre.
Surprisingly, a couple of the clown midgets could wrestle pretty well, though, I noticed. So I thought they would just sort of run around and do silly things, but they were actually like proper little mini wrestlers. You're like, oh, that's cute.
Are you patronizing there, David?
This is going to be the episode that gets me canceled.
Yes.
I knew it. I knew I made a mistake inviting you guys.
It's all right. We say much worse normally, honestly.
We're just warming up.
Yeah.
We're just warming up.
You can't be tactful when it involves midgets called Sleazy, can you?
There's no way to be tactful about it. You just got to go, like I said, going in raw. But yeah, they could have possibly shaved some time off that match to maybe have a women's match. But instead, what we get is a quick highlight from Bull Nakano winning the women's championship in Tokyo, beating Alundra Blaze for the title. And I popped for this because it's a backstage segment with Todd Pettingill, and it's a close up on him, and he's like, "I'm here with the very obviously elated Bull Nakano," and then it pans over to Bull Nakano, who is literally anything but elated, just with her turgid hair, her stare, her stone stare. But yeah, Bull Nakano is the champ, I guess, but doesn't matter because the title is going to be in the trash within a year or two, right? Yeah. Or is that a little longer? I don't know. You guys might be at that point, right? In your podcast.
Yeah,
just seen that. Yeah, seen that.
End of 95 it was.
Exactly.
That match for the title got 4.5 stars from Dave Meltzer. And we sat through
I've seen that match.
We sat through 16 minutes of midgets wrestling. And we then just see the end of a 4.5 star rated, really good women's match.
Well, to be fair, if the midget match was in Tokyo, it would have also gotten 4.5 stars. So
fair point, actually. Yeah, Tokyo Dome.
I wonder how many stars he did give that match.
I'm very curious, actually. I'll definitely look that up.
Gonna be googling that in a minute. Aren't I?
That's probably the first 7-star match he gave, isn't it?
I think so.
It's got to be.
Oh, I love the idea of that.
Oh man. Hope he didn't shortchange those guys with stars. Hey, midgets.
Nice.
Anyways,
they're little, Gareth. Because they're little, yeah. Do you get
it? Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
we're all having fun.
I get it.
We're all having fun. Oh man, but don't worry, we got some serious stuff coming next. Bret Hart versus Bob Backlund.
Yes.
In 1994, Bob Backlund in a submission match for the WWF title. Just kind of thrown in the middle of the card. You know, it is what it is. Just toss it in, see what happens.
Throw it out. Let's see what happens. It's just a champ, just Bob Backlund. Who cares?
Yeah, who cares? Nobody knows this guy anyways. But yeah, essentially a battle of the generations match, which I do like, because you have Bret Hart, who is essentially the face of the new generation, versus Bob Backlund, who is one of the biggest faces of the previous generation, like golden era, whatever you want to call it. You guys big Bob Backlund fans?
Nope. Don't. I like his mad stick, but don't tick the boxes. For me.
Bonkers Bob's great when he's
Yeah.
looking like an old geriatric who's got lost, wandering around trying to find his pills.
Right.
But no, I'm not a huge Bob Backlund fan, if I'm being honest.
I don't like his matches.
You guys enjoyed him with Darren Young, though, right? You enjoyed that little thing. Do you remember that?
God, that's going back some years now, isn't it?
That was maybe like 2015, 2016.
2015. God, I don't watch. I just watch old wrestling.
No, I wasn't wrestling then.
I get bored. Yeah, that's it.
I think that's old at this point, right?
Made in the 90s. I ain't watching it.
Yeah, you're not missing much. I'll put it that way. But yeah, so they're building this up because Bob lost the title. What was it, 11 years previous to this? Something like that.
Yeah, something like that, wasn't it?
I think they kept changing the years, but who cares? Bob lost the title a long time ago, is basically the premise here. But he lost it and he never submitted to lose it. And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe he lost the title by the towel getting thrown in. And
Correct, yes.
Yes.
Yep.
And we got a similar situation here in a submission match. So a thing that a lot of people might not realize is before tapping out became a thing. So this is when submissions, or at least before, it was very popular. So submissions came from verbal submissions or somebody throwing in the towel for the most part. And so that's why each guy in this match has a manager, valet with them. Bret Hart comes out with Bulldog. Bob Backlund comes out with Owen Hart. So continuing the Owen Bret storyline here, which is pretty sick.
Yeah, you can't get tired of seeing them two together, can you? It's
no,
an
absolutely
awesome pairing.
not. Yeah, I'm watching their matches for the first time. I just watched their steel cage match at SummerSlam, and
That's great.
That's insane.
beautiful.
It's so good.
Beautiful. But yeah, so this match was
I've just found the star ratings out from Meltzer, so I'll tell you about those.
give them to
at
me.
the end of that.
Give 'em
This
to
is
me.
good. He gave this match we're watching, Bob Backlund Bret, 2 stars.
Really?
He gave Jerry Lawler and Doink 2.5 stars out of 5.
Get in.
So
No, he did not.
Meltzer, no word of a lie. That is his.
He's a
you know.
polarizing character, old Meltzer, isn't he? He
Yeah,
will.
well, he
yeah.
knows his stuff, doesn't he? He knows his stuff.
Mm.
So, and just saying, in Dave Meltzer's eyes, midgets wrestling each other is better than Bret Hart and Bob Backlund wrestling.
It's also better than Hogan and Andre, which didn't they get like -2 stars or something?
What?
I think it definitely got negative stars or like a dud or whatever. Maybe like 0.25 stars or some shit. But yeah, but he's gospel, so can't.
It's
I'm not
Meltzer,
gonna-
isn't it?
It is.
Can't go wrong with Meltz, can you? So,
God bless him. Praise him. But so yeah, Bret Hart versus Bob Backlund. I did enjoy the beginning to it. It was a styles clash, but I think that's how it was designed to be. It was obviously a clash of generations. So you have two different styles of workers in there. So I did enjoy that for a bit. There's another match that kind of maybe went a little longer than it should have, maybe a lot longer than it should have. I enjoyed.
I think they're two guys that like wrestling each other. You can tell that these are two people that like each other's style. I don't think it necessarily translates to really interesting wrestling matches, though. But I think they kind of enjoy each other's company. Like,
Right.
you know, when you get two mates who make each other laugh, but everyone else thinks they're dickheads. It's basically like that.
Yeah.
So,
It's us,
you two
Dave.
are.
yeah, essentially, yeah. So it's,
Yeah, it is us. Yes.
I
everyone
don't
hates
I
us.
don't like how this is your hand gesture for two guys getting together, by the way. I don't know what you guys do over there. I know lockdown, you're running out of things to do.
Can't do it. Can't get near each other. Lockdown, can we?
That's
So
true.
That's a dream.
That's at this point, I'm sure. It's like you're in prison, right?
Yeah.
Got to stay more than 3.5 inches away from Dave.
Gotta cut that half. The half's important.
Of course it is, rounding up.
Yeah, exactly. You're not gonna lie, right?
No, my wife might listen. She'll know for sure, definitely.
Oh,
no
sure.
way your wife's listening, Gareth.
Nah, she's not. No, she left me, Dave. Remember?
Pay attention. You don't even listen to them, do you?
Yeah,
you prick.
Just cuss me out podcast now, is it? Fucking hell.
Do you guys think Bob Backlund is packing? I feel like if for some reason he like works it out. You know what I mean? He does like dick curls. It's probably veiny, if nothing else.
The thing is, he knows so many holds. It'd be like really aggressive tantric sex, wouldn't it? He'd tie you up like a pretzel, and yeah, you know what I mean. You could see it, couldn't you? The crazy look in his eyes, shouting,
jump,
"I'm God!"
Like Kato jumped the old Inspector Clouseau from behind, grab you in the cross-faced chicken wing, and then, like when you come home from work, you've had a hard day, and he's hiding in the rafters, jumps down.
Mm-hmm.
Chicken wing slips it in.
Yeah, chicken wing slips it in. Love it.
I wasn't planning on thinking about Bob Backlund having sex when I did this podcast, but here we are.
I am now.
Yeah, and can't stop thinking about it. But so yeah, again, a pretty long match. Decently good at the beginning, but kind of dragged a little bit until the end when Bob Backlund locks on the dreaded chicken wing, the aforementioned chicken wing, although this time he had clothes on.
Disappointing.
So, could have set up for something better, but Bob Backlund locks in the chicken wing on Bret. And this dude, I went back and checked. Bret Hart was in this chicken wing for 8 fucking minutes. I was like, this
I know. It's a long time, isn't it?
It's a tough boy. And what is he doing for this? Go ahead.
Imagine laying there on the mat for 8 minutes, just sort of hugging one of your work colleagues.
Backlund breathing in your ear.
Yeah. Rubbing his little bob up against
groin
you.
on your ass.
Your brother and brother-in-law's prattling around outside. Your mum's there just crying, and there's Bob Backlund dry humping you. Shit.
That's what I was thinking too. Watching this is like Bret Hart is like selling pretty much the whole time. So is Bob Backlund. He's selling the whole. It's like kudos to them for like at least trying to maintain the intensity throughout the whole thing. But during this whole 8 minutes, there's a whole brouhaha on the outside where I believe Davey Boy trips over Owen Hart and goes head first into the steel steps. So we got some Three Stooges bullshit on the outside where Davey Boy is essentially dead and paralyzed on the ground. By the way, he didn't move an inch throughout this whole thing.
Like everyone's running around him, and he was just literally there dead. Why didn't someone come and check on him?
Right?
If one of my mates fell over and got knocked out, and you're like, come on, Gaz, up you get. You didn't move for 8 minutes. I'd probably be a bit like, probably needs medical attention here, rather than climbing over you to try and get someone to throw a towel in,
What's the WWF titles on the line?
Yeah, that's true.
Plus, it's Davey Boy. He just goes hit his head. He'll be all right.
He's a national hero. It's not going to make him stupider, is it? Might knock some sense into him.
Exactly.
Grateful he's not around shouting in his stupid Mancunian accent.
You don't like his accent?
Not a big fan of that. No.
What
we'd consider thick over here, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
He just sounds stupid.
What does he sound like again?
I don't care. It's my bulldog impression.
Can you do the rest of this podcast in Davey Boy, please?
I've only got that one line. That's it.
Oh, okay.
If you just want me every now and then to just shout, I don't care.
Well, I have that clipped forever now. So
yeah, that's it. Yeah, use it as you will.
Right.
It's a freebie. You can have that.
What a guy. So to recap, Bob Backlund is whispering sweet nothings in Bret Hart's ear in the middle of the ring. Davey Boy's dead. Owen Hart is crying to his mom because he's acting like he has remorse for Bret. So he wants to, because Davey Boy, in order for Bret to lose, Davey Boy has to be the one that throws in the towel. But obviously he can't because paralyzed. And so Owen Hart is pleading to Helen, right? Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, Helen Hart.
To throw in the towel on behalf of Bret. But Helen takes a while to contemplate this. A good 5 or 6 minutes of watching Bret getting strangled by a greasy old man in the middle of the ring.
Sweet.
Scott, take the pros and cons watching this. And finally, Owen, removes the barricade. Helen comes ringside with a towel, or Owen, I guess Owen gives her a towel. She again looks at Bret getting choked to death in the middle of the ring, still kind of thinks about it for a little bit, and then finally throws in the towel. So now Bob Backlund in 1994 is the WWF champion. New generation, huh?
How pissed off was Stu Hart?
I was going to say that.
Fuck me, he weren't happy about this, was he?
He was never going to throw that towel in. So luckily, they went to Helen because he was going to go. Fuck, he can die. Fuck him. Don't care.
He would let
out. He is not tapping out.
He's done worse to him in the dungeon, I'm sure.
Exactly. My boy ain't quitting. He ain't a quitter.
He's used to being chicken winged and having things rubbed against him. He can do this for hours.
Well, he was right.
He would have let him just rot in that ring. So,
got respect it.
I just can't work out still. How did that mean that Bob's the champ? Because I thought only Davey Boy could throw the towel in.
For Bret. Wait.
But why didn't Owen throw it in?
Yeah, why don't Owen just throw it in then?
Well, Owen was...
Or anyone.
Owen was on the side of Bob. So I guess he was the only one that couldn't throw in the towel. If I'm trying to rationalize
so it could be anyone but Owen.
Just
literally
a fan.
Anyone.
Yeah, I'll take this towel and lob it in there, bro.
Exactly. Why? If you go and talk to Helen, she's like, no, I'm sorry. Stu's like, whoa, she's not throwing it in. Just go to someone who's got a Bob Backlund sign and go, well, look, mate, chuck it in and he'll lose.
Get Jim Cornette out. He'd have thrown it in.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Jerry Lawler, he's an ultimate heel. He'd have loved it.
Yeah. But, if they would have abided by those rules, of Davey being the only one able to throw the towel in, Bret Hart would still be in that chicken wing. So
that'd be so good.
They'd still
go
be
to
selling.
San Antonio, Texas now. They're still laying there.
27 years later.
Right. Would have saved them from Goldberg if nothing else. Yeah. That's the episode title.
Yeah.
Bob Backlund's limp penis. Oh man. But like we mentioned earlier, Bob is only champion for like 3 days or something, loses the title in 4 seconds. So it's really just a transitional champion at this point. But I do love, they're really pushing this new generation thing hard. And I guess that's a story here of Bob being kind of the antithesis of that. And now he's the champion. So everybody hates him and wants to see him lose, and just feeding into that Diesel babyface turn, really. So I kind of like it's silly, but I kind of like it.
I kind of like it. And I think everyone hated Bob Backlund for what he's doing. So I don't know. Why didn't they build it up to a pay-per-view? If they'd done it for a pay-per-view, then at least Diesel could win the title in front of a proper crowd rather than just a house show. And I think they could have done something with that because, you've got an overhill in Bob Backlund. He might not be the best, but at least gives a face like Diesel could have chased that for a couple of months, even if it was just at the Rumble. Just give him a proper moment rather than beating him in 4 seconds at Madison Square Garden's house show.
Yeah. I guess it's still Madison Square Garden, so it's not like he just won it in Paducah, Kentucky or something, So it was a moment, I guess, for the people in attendance. But I don't know how many people are going to live events in 1994, in all honesty.
True.
Man, but...
I just don't think that Vince could have held it in long enough for Diesel. He was creaming his pants for him, wasn't he? So he was going to do it sooner rather than later. I reckon he would have done it that same night if he could have got away with it.
Yeah, fair point.
I don't see why they didn't. Looking back on it, I guess Bob Backlund was he's not tired. He doesn't get tired, right?
Yes.
He's done like 27 years. Chicken wing. He's fine.
Yeah, he's built for it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, we got another clusterfuck on the way, folks. We got the $1 Million Team versus Guts and Glory.
That was my favorite team name, Guts and Glory.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
You've got Lex Luger and you've got Mabel. Mabel's got the guts. It's Glory. So there you go. What more do you need? Loved it.
That's brilliant. Yeah, like you said, Mabel, Lex Luger. We got the Smoking Guns and Bart and Billy, and Adam Bomb for whatever reason. And then you got the $1 Million Team, which is a Bam Bam Bigelow, Jimmy Del Rey, Tom Pritchard, King Kong Bundy, and Tatanka. What a cast of characters, huh?
King Kong Bundy. It's embarrassing.
I feel like this match had less colors than the first Survivor Series match, but more meat and sweat.
And guts.
Lots of guts.
And the glory.
Not so much glory.
I wouldn't say glory. No.
I was a bit gutted watching this one because when I was a kid, back when I was watching it this time, I loved Tatanka.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched this one and it made me realize Tatanka actually sucked and I shouldn't have liked him at all. And it made me look back on like 9-10-year-old me thinking you were a moron, David. What have you done with your life?
Yeah, but did you like face Tatanka, who came out with all like the headdress and the tomahawk and the stereotypical Red Indian type thing?
I liked him, whatever. As a kid, if I liked you, then it didn't matter if he was face or heel. I was, I was all in, Gaz, as they say nowadays.
All in, Gaz.
I was not. I'm happy with him, and I love like Ted DiBiase. So this seemed like a dream team until I saw him wrestle, and I realised he
Not
was
so
terrible.
much.
Dream team.
Yeah.
Dream team,
exactly.
huh? That's what you thought?
Lofty claims.
That's what they should
isn't
have
it?
called themselves, shouldn't they? The Dream Team.
They got fucking King Kong Bundy on this team.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Okay, fair enough.
And so this is like before my time, and I haven't seen a lot of King Kong Bundy matches in my day.
Missing out.
Is this me, or is he just like a fat guy?
Yeah.
He's not even like big. He's just a fat person with no eyebrows.
And no neck. It's just like this.
He is. He's an egg with legs.
Yeah.
The best kind of gimmick, that is. It's like Humpty Dumpty.
Right? That's what they could have called him, really. I think I would have gotten more over. I think that would have done a better WrestleMania match with Hulk Hogan back in the day, right?
Knocking him off a wall.
Big egg, like the gobbledygooker thing.
Yes. So this match starts off. So the whole storyline here is basically revolves around Tatanka and Lex Luger. It was teased that Lex Luger was going to turn and join the $1 Million Team. So Tatanka was basically claiming that that's what was going to happen. So they had a match at SummerSlam at the previous pay-per-view, and ultimately Tatanka was the one that ended up turning, recruiting Ted DiBiase to help him win that match. And now Tatanka is on the $1 Million Team. So turning him heel for, I'm pretty sure, the first time in his WWF run. And, we talked about it in my last podcast on SummerSlam 94, kind of came to the conclusion that that's pretty much what killed the careers of both Lex Luger and Tatanka. Would you guys agree or disagree? Maybe not killed it, but
We've watched
definitely
Luger wrestle. And so, no, Luger wrestling killed his career.
Yeah, we're not big Luger fans, are we, Gaz? So it's difficult to look at him subjectively to think he got pushed to a really high level, and other than the fact he looks really nice
and shiny,
nice and
so shiny.
Everything else, I cannot understand why he got pushed the way he did. I'm yet to see that Luger spark.
Well,
so
he's American. He has muscles and he's blonde, so he's Hulk Hogan.
Yeah,
right. Same.
We'll
switch him out. Nobody will even notice.
Yes.
He's not got the technical skill though of the Hulkster, is he? Let's be honest.
Can he leg drop like Hulk? No way.
No. Can he book himself to win every match like Hulk? No, he can't.
That's the key. That's what makes a good wrestler. That's what he was missing. And then, like you said it before, Tatanka was not good. Like his whole his momentum was based on him being a baby face and doing the hey, or whatever it was, and the chops and the headdress and all that. And when you strip that away from him, he's just a dude with some pretty thick thighs and is vaguely Native American. That's pretty much all he is.
It's all you need.
Yeah.
So they never really, until I did like his what was it, 2006 when he came back. I don't know if you guys were watching at that time, when he came back to SmackDown randomly for like a year.
Yeah, he just came back and looked sort of slightly chubby and was still all right though. You're like, it's Tatanka again. I was watching then thinking, he's back. My favorite. I love him.
That's the reaction any promoter wants to get from their fans.
Look at that.
I guess that's fun. Have him team with Heinenreich or whatever it was. But yeah, this match. So we have Mabel and King Kong Bundy face off in the beginning. I mean, that's a dream match. If nothing else, right? Who will have cardiac arrest first?
Technical masterclass.
Yeah. Well, Mabel ends up taking out Tom Pritchard with a cross body from the second rope. I don't know how Tom survived that, but he did. So Tom is out. Mabel and Bundy go at it again for whatever reason. Bam Bam gets in there, and you really appreciate someone like Bam Bam Bigelow when you watch King Kong Bundy and Mabel plot around for a few minutes. You guys big Bam Bam fans?
I like the Beast from the East. Always
you-
did. I thought he could have got pushed a lot more than what he was. He had the great look. He looked scary as, didn't he? You wouldn't mess with that guy.
Yeah, he looks legit as well, and just the speed at which he moves is unreal for his size. Absolutely unreal.
And that's like a thing. We see a lot of that today. It's almost like cliche to say that, but Bam Bam was the real deal, especially back then. Nobody was doing it like he was, especially at that size.
No. He moved like Shaquille O'Neal does now, doesn't he?
Never heard a comparison between Bam Bam Bigelow and Shaquille O'Neal.
Never seen him take a table bump, have you?
Yes.
That was a damn good table. I don't know about you guys.
That was a good bump, actually.
How old is Shaquille O'Neal though? He's like old, isn't he?
It's probably like 50.
He's near on 50.
Yeah, so like to be doing that at his age, I was quite impressed with that. Really, just falling through tables. I mean, I wouldn't be able to get up for a week if I'd done that, and
Right.
I'm not yet 50, near 50, but not yet then.
But what was not as impressive as that was Mabel and Bam Bam going at it on the outside. But eventually Mabel gets counted out. And there's another situation where Vince on commentary is like, oh, what? Oh, I got it out. Or however he sounds on commentary. So Mabel's out.
That's the British Bulldog impression.
There's a fine line between Vince McMahon and British Bulldog. That's
Bulldog,
what I'm learning. So Billy Gunn gets in, fucks around for a little bit. Adam Bomb comes in and gets his pay. I prefer. I'm thinking of Crush. Never mind. I always get him and Crush mixed up because they're kind of the same person right now at this point.
It's close enough, isn't it?
Bam Bam eliminates Adam Bomb with a moonsault. Very. I'm not gonna call it pretty, but it was glorious.
Effective.
Yes, that's where the glory comes in. There's guts elsewhere, and he brought the glory. I guess he has guts too. So the heels have the advantage here. Luger, finally, the American hero. What do they call him? The All-American. What was his nickname?
Badass.
Yeah, he had like some.
The American Badass.
Yeah, yes. I think he was the big dog, Booger Red, something like that. Luger comes in, eliminates Jimmy Del Rey with a clothesline. Was he? So the whole deal with this clothesline was he had like a metal plate in his arm, right? Or was
his
that later?
forearm, yeah. That's his forearm.
Motorbike accident, wasn't it? I think it was legit as well, wasn't it? He had legitimately had
so.
it. Yeah.
My
my wife has got some screws in her elbow. If I step out of line, she just gives me one of those, and I don't wake up for a week.
Out of her elbow.
So yeah, it's totally gas. It's like something off Robot Wars.
I was going to say, you got Robot Wars. You beat me to it.
Robot Wars. Is that the show that like Mick Foley hosted? Or is that a different robot
Not
show?
over here, it wasn't.
It's Craig Charles over here.
It was Craig. I was going to say.
No idea who that is. You know, the one from Red Dwarf.
Right. Yeah, of course.
Coronation Street.
Yeah. Harry Potter, right?
I don't care.
Top Gear. That's a show.
Top Gear is a show, yes.
The Beatles.
Right. See, I'm with your culture, right? I understand.
Totally down with it.
So we got a lot of shenanigans happening here. Tatanka then eliminates Bart Gunn with the end of the trail, Samoan drop or Indian drop, I guess. And then King Kong Bundy comes in and eliminates Billy Gunn with a splash because he's fat. King Kong Bundy pins Billy, and then so now we have King Kong Bundy, Bam Bam Bigelow, and Tatanka versus Lex Luger. So we got a 3-on-1 situation. Luger is able to give a small package to Tatanka, pins him, but then King Kong Bundy capitalizes right away by giving him a big splash, and you ain't kicking out of that. So Bundy pins Luger, and the heels win. I did like the finish, if nothing else. I think it was kind of like almost had a sense of realism to it, where it kind of came out of nowhere. But ultimately, the match was just a lot of silliness, I think. But it was fun just to see all the characters involved, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think anyone came out of it looking good. It's not like, you watch the first match where Diesel got this rocket and he's pushed to the moon, whereas this one, you're trying to sell this story that Lex Luger's going to overcome the odds. It's 3-on-1, and
doesn't.
Actually, no, he just doesn't. King Kong Bundy.
So I think Vince forgot.
That's it.
that he wasn't going to push him because he said at the end, Lex Luger has done the impossible just before he gets splashed by Bundy and gets pinned. What do you mean? What? He's got pinned? What the fuck, you idiot?
Lex is pretty expert at that one.
Yeah, Lex looked like a chump actually throughout this whole match, even like the beginning. So the beginning, it started with him and Tatanka. Tatanka was doing the whole deal where he like backs up into Lex, and then he turns around, he sees Lex, but Lex just kind of like stares at him. But then Tatanka just fucking punches him in the face and knocks him down. Like, are you dumb? Are you dumb? And then
Lex is like that all the time, though. I mean, we watch him a lot on WCW now, and the amount of just he misses his cues and just those moments where he could do something, he just fucks it. Every opportunity, he just lets it down. He's only got himself to blame for being shit.
But hey,
he's killing Miss Elizabeth. So
I can't really come back from that, I suppose.
Yes.
He didn't.
So yeah, the baby faces look like chumps. Heels win. Guts or the $1 Million Team beats up Lex Luger after the match. The baby faces try to save Lex Luger instead of Mabel, who's taking his sweet ass time to come and save him. But yeah, that's pretty much it. But let's kill Lex Luger to make King Kong Bundy look strong. I think that's a good plan.
Pushing the youngsters.
New generation. Yeah. And so after that, we got a backstage segment with Todd Pettengill once again, everyone's favorite, with Bob Backlund, who had just won the WWF title. And this is a lot of Bob Backlund being Bob Backlund. He's saying, just saying words, I think. A lot of words I don't think he knows what they mean. He's saying that he's kind of talking to all the fans. He's saying, I'm going to synchronize you and homogenize you and pasteurize you. Like, what? They rhyme, but they don't make sense to what you're saying, Bob.
It's just going to gently warm the fans until they've lost all of their bad enzymes. Of course it makes sense. He shouts that he feels like God an awful lot as well, which I enjoyed.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Right. I love Bob Backlund. I love just listening to him talk unsensically for a little bit. But then after this, Gorilla Monsoon makes a good point, which, by the way, I think this is Gorilla Monsoon's last ever commentary that he did, at least on pay-per-view.
On a main event.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But he mentions, we kind of alluded to this earlier, Bob basically won the title in the same way that he lost it. But he was claiming that the way he lost it didn't count because he didn't submit, but he won the title when Bret didn't submit. So it was kind of a little delusion there for Bob Backlund, but I did enjoy that. But
the nice details, isn't it? You don't get that nowadays.
It is nuance. It's very, yes, like you said, very rare nowadays. And nothing says nuance like throwing out Chuck Norris in the main event. You guys big, what was the show? Walker, Texas Ranger?
My mum used to love that. That used to be on before Raw is War during the Attitude Era over here. So my mum would religiously watch Walker, Texas Ranger, and then watch Raw is War.
So this is the same Chuck Norris as in Chuck Norris is so hard that XYZ, blah, 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 all these jokes. It's the same guy, is it? Okay, right.
Get with the times, Grandad. Yeah, of course it is.
Oh, sorry, mate. Sorry.
I was about to say, because that's what I know Chuck Norris from. Because I mean, I've Walker, Texas Ranger. I mean, during the Attitude Era, I've seen the last 2 minutes of a lot of Walker, Texas Ranger episodes because it would lead into Raw. But I know Chuck Norris mainly from the Total Gym commercials. I don't know if you guys got that over there. Maybe that was just an American thing. No. It was like a workout machine. It was like a bench that had cables on it, and it would like slide up and down. It was Chuck Norris. It'd be like infomercials at 3 a.m. You'd see him working out on it.
Was that like for DDP yoga? Guns?
Yeah.
Was it?
See, I was going to ask. I mean, there's no other way to get those arms in a Total Gym.
Damn right you can't. Chuck ain't got a pair of these. This one's called Bart. This one's called Billy.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Oh, yeah.
The gun show.
This one's Billy. This one's Chuck. So yeah, Chuck Norris. Speaking of Chuck Norris is out there.
He didn't look happy though, did he? He didn't look like he was enjoying himself being out there.
Like Chuck Norris. I think Chuck Norris has one expression.
Was he meant to be badass? Look like he's tough?
Did you not see the cowboy hat
Yeah, fair. To be fair, Vince McMahon and Gorilla Monsoon were wearing cowboy hats. I was desensitized to the badassness of a hat by that point.
So that's your main takeaway from the show. It's too many cowboy hats.
Too many.
Not enough assless chaps.
Yeah.
Right. Well, let me ask: Is Taker's hat? Is that considered a cowboy hat, or is that a different kind of hat?
No, it's a Stetson, isn't it? It's more of a. It's an Undertaker. I've never thought about this. You put me on the spot now, and I've had to think about my hats.
Yeah, we'll take a time. We can take like 30 minutes to think about what kind of hat it was.
Yeah, no, we'll do. Yeah. Sure. I'll just throw out the odd bulldog impression. Then when I've come up with what I think is whether it's a cowboy hat or not.
That's what the people want. That's what the people expect from you anyway. So
he should have worn a fez.
There's
like Tommy Cooper.
Is a fez like Cooper? Like
those Americans are gonna know that, aren't they? that's Ku Klux Klan. That's what you're thinking. Ooh,
you can't do that.
Different one there, isn't it?
You see, I had a very different image in my head, so thank you for correcting me. But a fez, it's like the rectangle, right?
It's a little red one.
Like the London people, whatever you. It's the stupid American. People? The London people, the ones that stand still.
No, it's not a bearskin hat.
No, that's a beefeater. They look after the Queen.
Or the bearskin hat, which is the Royal Guard one.
Mm.
The fez is the little red one with the little tassel on the top. You would wear one.
A little like monkeys in cartoons.
Yeah, the monkey from Aladdin wore one.
Yeah, the one from Aladdin. There you go.
I don't like how you're trying to relate to me by monkeys and Aladdin. You think I'm just going to understand what you're... I mean, I do now. I do understand.
Everyone watched Disney.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. We're bringing it down to an American level.
There we go.
We said Tommy Cooper. If you're not going to know that, you've got no chance. So.
Can't say
every American listener will be like, who the fuck's Tommy Cooper? Tommy Cooper? They'll look him up on YouTube and be like, what the fuck is that?
Not interested. Not interested.
Don't.
But no British people in this main event. We got a casket match. Yokozuna versus Undertaker. So this is a rematch from their Royal Rumble 94 casket match. If you don't remember, that's where Undertaker lost and ascended to heaven.
It's Marty Jannetty.
Yeah.
It was Marty Jannetty who got winched up when they done it.
Was it?
Yeah, it was that's genuinely true. So when he was in the casket and then you see his body going up, that body was Marty Jannetty.
Oh, okay. That's a fun fact. That fact is fun.
It's a Marty Jannetty fact before he, started killing people and
was it before
off men for drugs? I don't know.
Well, they go hand in hand. You can't have one and not the other.
Yeah, of course you do. So yeah, it's Marty. I like Marty Jannetty.
But speaking of sucking off men for drugs, I sucked off this match and I don't know. So it's a casket. So Undertaker took a few months off, returned at the last pay-per-view. That was the Undertaker versus Undertaker match. So we're fresh off that, basically. And the whole premise here is that Yokozuna is scared of caskets because I guess he's Japanese, kind of. So they don't like caskets.
Do they all hate caskets in Japan?
I don't think anyone particularly likes caskets, other than casket makers.
The Undertaker.
Yeah, that's true.
See, that's really just
Paul Bearer probably does. He seems to. He's not adverse to them, is he? Chuck Norris, he stands near it all match. So
he was pretty indifferent to the casket.
Yeah, exactly.
That casket was scared of Chuck Norris.
Nice,
yeah.
Nice.
You like that?
You love that shit. You're really proud of it, aren't you?
Log off now. You ain't going to top that joke, Gareth.
Look, I'm nearly 40. This is all I've got.
Right? Just end the show now. It doesn't get better than that.
No.
Oh, man. But yeah, Undertaker versus Yokozuna. This is like one of Yoko's last like main event matches. He's definitely like kind of winding down his career. So he's like not at his like, oh, I say that though, he's still like bumping around out there pretty well for a guy his size. I mean, the dude's got to be approaching 600 pounds at this point, but he's bumping for Taker. He's moving around there. He would look at the casket and he would fall and do the whole fall on his ass thing. Good shit from Yokozuna. I always love, he's like, I don't know if it's a guilty pleasure, but I always love watching Yokozuna wrestle, even if he's just squashing jobbers.
Thing is, he can wrestle.
He can.
Especially watching like this match, like, being 94. We obviously review stuff in 95, 96 era. He is so much bigger in 95 and 96 and slower. So like watching this 94 Yoko, he was so much more mobile, can actually wrestle and do things compared to what we're watching of him now. He's just awful.
Right.
He gets massive. He's so much bigger in this in '95 than this Survivor Series match.
I'm sure. So yeah, they have a match for a little bit, and then King Kong Bundy and Bam Bam Bigelow come out to distract Chuck Norris. They distract him because Chuck Norris, by the way, is the troubleshooting referee. Not an enforcer. No, it's a troubleshooting referee. And so he's distracted, which leads to IRS coming out to give a sleeper hold to Undertaker, chokes out Taker, rolls him in the casket. But before Yokozuna can close the door of the casket, Taker rises up, grabs him by the throat, and starts being Undertaker to him, basically. Just classic shit. But then Jeff Jarrett comes out because we didn't get enough of him earlier. And he comes out and just gets his shit rocked by Chuck Norris with like a side kick of some sort. Probably actually hurt him, in all honesty. And
Jeff Jarrett was selling the shit out of that,
though,
wasn't he? He was. This was his moment, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Roll back down the aisle like 500 times after getting booted to the car. It was
shot out of a cannon.
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, someone had to get their ass kicked by Chuck Norris in this show.
It wasn't going to be Bundy or Bigelow, was it?
I wish it would have. I would have rather seen that, but so Chuck Norris dispatches of all the heels. Undertaker gives Yokozuna a few clotheslines, a big DDT, and then big boots him into the casket. Before he closes the door, takes the Japanese flag that's ringside, snaps it over his knee, tosses it in the casket, and then closes the casket door.
USA, USA,
Yeah.
USA.
Fuck
How
the
you wanna
Japs,
end.
right? Yeah.
Exactly.
A little bit of
Like that.
xenophobia to close out the show. But Yoko doesn't care because he's not Japanese.
Take that, you filthy Samoans.
Is there any? You crack a Japanese flag and then throw it on a guy that's not Japanese. Oh man, we're a long way from Hayabusa. Or Hayabusa? Yeah, Hayabusa, yeah. And so Undertaker wins, and that's pretty much how the show closes out. What do you guys think of that whole casket match deal?
I liked Paul Bearer's urn.
Did you?
It was massive.
It was the biggest urn in the world that he was just carrying around. It was a rubbish match, wasn't it? I mean, I watched the Yokozuna documentary, and Undertaker was talking about how him and Yoko had great chemistry in the ring. I mean, did you bollocks? It was awful. It's just watching a really big man lumbering around, and the Undertaker trying to sort of roll him into a casket for the whole match. It's just awful.
Yeah, but he's very limited, though, isn't he? Yoko, he's past his prime now. Undertaker's been given some right shit opponents. They're not saying Yokozuna is shit, but he's had to deal with fighting himself, and then they line him up with some tough opponents that, shooting, fighting the guy in the mirror kind of thing.
Right.
But I thought the best bit of it was when he knocked Jim Cornette out. He fell on the floor, and then his eyes rolled into the back of his head. And I thought, well, that's it. You stay down there, Jim.
No one sells better than Jim Cornette.
No.
What Jim Cornette deserves.
But yeah, the Undertaker's like kind of still fresh off of fighting Giant Gonzalez, and he fought Brian Lee, I believe, was the Undertaker. So he's been getting some shit. He's
still over, isn't he? He's massively over.
Oh, probably the most over in the company at this point.
He looks unbelievably badass, though. This version of the Taker is like, this is legit, and it's still that dead man, and you can get away with that dead man kind of shtick in it, and I loved it. Just seeing him do that. Watching the wrestling, didn't enjoy that, but Undertaker being Undertaker. How can you not like, a big fat Samoan man dressed as a Japanese man knocking the Undertaker down, who just sits up and then chucks him in a casket while Chuck Norris is, duffing in a egg on legs. Happy days.
If I watch a wrestling match and it doesn't have all those things, I'm pretty disappointed.
It's only getting a 3-star review.
Exactly. But yeah, that brings Survivor Series 94 to a close. It's definitely a transition time for WWF, for wrestling really in general. Just the start, it's Nitro isn't a thing at this point yet, so the Monday Night Wars aren't really a thing yet, but there's still a lot of competition out there. You have ECW just started up, or the Extreme Championship Wrestling just started up around this time too. So it's like revving up to be awesome, but it's not. It's not quite awesome.
It's
yet.
not awesome. Yeah.
No. But in a few years, it'll be pretty much just swap rosters basically, and then yeah, that'll do it. But yeah, Survivor Series '94. If you had to give it a star rating, what would you give it? Out of 5, I guess.
2. There's just I like the Bret and Bob Backlund match, but outside of that, the rest of it was just a painful watch. Yeah, just nothing you're going to go back to and go, oh, there was some really, and it's not even like the other matches really had any moments where you were looking back and go, oh, I'd love to just see that bit again. It was like, I like watching Owen Hart crying and Helen Hart
who
trying
doesn't?
to act. Yeah, so
And Stu Hart not giving a shit.
yeah, 2 thumbs up for Bob Backlund grinding on Bret Hart.
I mean, what else can you ask for in a wrestling show? That made me go home happy.
Yeah.
A happy
Bret go
ending,
home
some may
happy.
say.
Yeah.
There it is. Semen, everybody. Semen. All right. Well, that's all I got. So the Monday Night Chores podcast, where can everybody find you guys?
Gaz, this is your thing.
I don't actually know, Dave, where you'd find us, mate. I haven't got it all written out like I normally do.
When you guys find out, tell them because they don't know.
I don't know. We're on Twitter.
They're on Twitter. I'll put all the.
What are we on
your
Twitter?
info.
What you know our Twitter?
Monday Night Chores.
Monday Night Chores. There you go. I don't know. Go on YouTube. Search for the Monday Night Chores.
Instagram, Monday_Night_Chores. Facebook, Monday Night Chores podcast. And also you can see Dave on TikTok dancing.
Yeah. Well,
At Monday Night Chores.
sometimes. Yeah.
I'm gonna find it. So I'll put all those links, and including the TikTok in the description.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the
of
best one.
this.
If you want to see more of this,
In fact, I might just scrap all this and just post some of your videos instead for the week. All right. Yeah. Well, thank you guys once again for coming on. This was a fun time. We'll definitely do this again.
thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a real pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once again, thank you to Dave and Gaz from the Monday Night Chores podcast for joining me on this colorful ride. My cat is still there, ladies and gentlemen. We're an hour and a half has passed, and this little douchebag is still meowing at my fucking door. Like I said, check the description for all their info and where you can find their podcast. Check them out at Mon Night Chores on Twitter. That's MON Night Chores on Twitter, and you can pretty much find them wherever. From there, find them on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, etc. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. Once again, thank you guys so much for listening. I'm hard.
Yeah. And the hardest, talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what hard is. Standing strong and proud, nothing I can. Let's get it started. It's the hardest.